Ladies and gentlemen, stop comparing your life to others. Everyone's journey is different. What you see on the surface, the achievements, the smiles, the wealth, is never the full story. When you focus on others, you steal time and energy from your own growth. You dilute your progress by chasing someone else's pace. Instead of measuring your success against someone else's timeline, measure it against your past self. That is where real growth lives. Chase your best, not theirs. You don't need to win a race that was never meant for you. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to focus inward is the boldest act of strength. Discovering who you really are is not selfish. It's survival. When you take time to reflect, you begin to understand your triggers, your passions, your wounds, and your worth. You stop living on autopilot. You stop needing external validation to feel whole. You stop shaping your dreams to fit the expectations of others. Instead, you start living from a place of purpose, clarity, and power. Focusing on yourself means waking up every day and asking, what do I need to heal? What do I want to build? What kind of person do I want to become? That's when transformation begins. That's when noise fades and vision sharpens. That's when your identity stops being a reflection of the world and starts becoming a reflection of your soul. When you prioritize self-awareness, you take back control. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop comparing and you start evolving. And most of all, you realize that the only competition that matters is between who you were yesterday and who you are determined to become today. What you give your energy to multiplies. So if you focus on your fears, they expand. If you focus on your gifts, they explode. The more attention you give to your own growth, your health, your mindset, your vision, the more powerful you become. Feed your inner fire, not someone else's spotlight. When you focus on yourself, others will eventually notice. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your consistency becomes undeniable. Be so invested in your own evolution that others feel motivated to work on theirs, not jealous of yours. You get 24 hours every day. The same 24 as the most successful people on earth. But where you place your focus determines how far you'll go. Wasting time wondering what someone else is doing is time stolen from your dreams. Reclaim that time, build something that outlasts comparison. When you focus on others, you start craving approval. When you focus on yourself, you build confidence from within. You don't need applause to know your worth. You don't need likes to validate your progress. True confidence is silent. It doesn't scream, it shines. Some will sprint, some will stumble, some will rise fast, some will rise late. But none of them are you, and that's your power. Your path has its own rhythm. Focus on walking it, not watching others on theirs. Run your race like it was built for you, because it was. Sometimes, the loudest breakthroughs come in the quietest seasons. Don't fear the moments when you're alone, working in silence. That's where warriors are built. Focus breeds clarity. Silence breeds ideas. Growth breeds greatness. Isolation is not abandonment. It's preparation. What you feed grows. It's a simple truth, but one that holds the power to transform your entire life. Your thoughts, your energy, your attention, they are all like water to a seed. If you constantly feed your fears, your insecurities, and your doubts, don't be surprised when they begin to take root and grow strong inside your mind. But if you shift that same energy toward your strengths, your goals, your inner light, then those qualities begin to bloom. The garden of your mind will always reflect what you've been nurturing. Every person has talents, gifts, passions, but they often go unseen. Not because they don't exist, but because we've been too busy focusing on what we lack, or worse, what others have. You stare at someone else's beauty and forget your own. You obsess over someone else's success and overlook your potential. But what if you took all the time you spent watching others and reinvested it into developing yourself? What if instead of asking, why can't I be like them, you asked, what can I build from who I already am? That shift, that simple, powerful shift, can change everything. You don't become great by chasing someone else's lane. You become great by mastering your own. By identifying what you're good at and going all in on it. By feeding it with time, with practice, with belief, with discipline. Strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And the more you feed it, the more unstoppable you become. It's like a flame. When you guard it, fuel it, and fan it, it grows into a fire that lights your entire path. But neglect it and it dies. So stop giving your best energy to your weaknesses. Stop obsessing over what went wrong, who's ahead, or what others are doing. That is not your business. Your business is to become the strongest, most focused version of you. And that begins by directing your attention where it matters. Your strengths, your values, your goals. Spend time sharpening your mind, strengthening your spirit, refining your gifts. Learn, grow, evolve, break, rebuild. But never stop feeding what makes you unique. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not without power. You've just been watering the wrong seeds. So today start again. Feed your strength, feed your courage, feed your faith, and watch yourself grow beyond anything you thought possible. You spend so much of your life trying to figure out other people, what they think of you, what they're doing, what they have that you don't. But rarely do you take that same energy and turn it inward. Rarely do you stop long enough to ask, who am I really? What do I believe? What do I feel when the world is silent? What do I want when no one is watching? That's where self-discovery begins, in the quiet moments where the world fades and your truth speaks. It's in those moments you begin to realize that everything you've been searching for out there has always lived within you. Self-discovery is not a luxury. It is not a side quest. It is the foundation of every dream, every relationship, every success you will ever know. Because you cannot build a meaningful life on a version of yourself you do not understand. You cannot lead others until you learn to lead yourself. You cannot ask the world to see your value when you haven't first looked in the mirror and seen it for yourself. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're brave. Brave enough to explore your own darkness. Brave enough to sit in your own silence. Brave enough to ask the hard questions most people run from. What hurts have I not healed? What masks am I still wearing? What dreams have I buried to make others comfortable? Self-discovery is messy. It's not glamorous. It's not a highlight reel. It's sitting with your fears, unpacking your traumas, confronting your habits, and learning to love yourself in the process, not despite your flaws, but because of the strength it took to face them. The truth is, most people spend their lives running from pain, running toward validation, running after acceptance. But when you finally stop running, when you stand still and look inside, you unlock a power no one can take from you. The power to choose your life instead of inherit it. The power to define yourself instead of being defined. The power to love yourself in a world that profits from your doubt. When you focus on yourself, you begin to trust your voice again. You stop asking for permission. You stop needing applause. You stop dimming your light to fit into spaces that were never made for you. You realize that peace doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from standing tall in your truth. You don't need to chase anyone when you're grounded in yourself. You don't need to impress anyone when you've already impressed the person in the mirror. And you don't need to fear being alone when you finally met your truest friend. Self-discovery is your superpower. It is the key that unlocks your clarity, your confidence, your purpose, your fire. And once you've found it, once you've looked inside and seen the depth, the power, the beauty of who you really are, you'll never again be distracted by the noise of others. You'll be too busy building, growing, living, and becoming. Because now you finally know, the journey was never about finding someone else. It was always about coming home to yourself. Everything in your life, your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs, is like a seed. And whatever seed you feed, that's what takes root and grows. The truth is, we are always feeding something. The question is, what are you feeding? Are you feeding your doubt, your fear, your insecurities? Are you watering the weeds of comparison, distraction, and self-criticism? Or are you feeding your growth, your courage, your strength, your focus? What you focus on expands. What you give attention to becomes your reality. If you constantly focus on what you lack, you will always feel empty. If you constantly compare your journey to others, you will always feel behind. But if you wake up every day and feed your strengths, your creativity, your persistence, your hunger to become better, you will begin to build a life that reflects your true potential. Focusing on your strengths isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It means recognizing the talents that are already inside you and choosing to develop them. It means accepting that while you may not be perfect at everything, you are powerful in something. And that something can become your engine, your light, your lane to greatness, if you feed it. But too often, we ignore our strengths because the world is loud about our weaknesses. We're told what we're not. We're shown what we're missing. We scroll through highlight reels of others and convince ourselves we don't measure up. So we feed the wrong seeds. We water our fear. We nourish our insecurity. We spend hours thinking about what someone else is doing instead of investing even a few focused moments into building ourselves. And then we wonder why we feel stuck. You want to grow? Stop feeding the noise. Stop fueling self-doubt. Stop giving energy to every distraction that whispers your name but leads you nowhere. Take back your power. Redirect your energy. Start feeding what matters. Feed your knowledge. Read, learn, absorb. Feed your passion, practice, create, refine. Feed your body, move, rest, breathe. Feed your mind, speak life, not limitations. Your strength is a fire waiting to be lit, but it won't burn unless you feed it. It won't grow unless you choose it. Every day is a chance to invest in yourself. Every moment you're tempted to look at someone else's life is a moment you can pour into your own. The time will pass either way. What you do with it determines whether you stay the same or rise to your greatness. So protect your energy like it's your currency, because it is. And what you feed with that energy becomes your future. The strongest version of you isn't waiting somewhere far away. That time is your most valuable asset. More valuable than money. More valuable than attention. More valuable than talent, because unlike any of those, time can never be earned back. Every second that passes is a second gone forever. And yet so many people spend their time as if it's infinite. They waste it worrying about others, scrolling through lives that aren't theirs, gossiping, comparing, criticizing, doubting, delaying. And before they know it, days become months, and months become years. And all that time, gone. Not spent building, not spent healing, not spent becoming, just gone. You have to understand something deep in your bones. You are not promised another year. You are not guaranteed another chance. Every day you wake up is a blessing. Every breath is a gift. And every hour you get is a vote for who you become. What are you doing with your time? Who are you becoming through your habits, your focus, your effort? There's a reason the most successful people in the world protect their time like it's gold. Because it is. They don't waste it on drama. They don't waste it watching people who aren't watching them. They don't give it away freely to anything that doesn't move them toward their purpose. Why? Because they understand this. Your future is not built in some magical tomorrow. It's built today, right now, in this moment, in what you choose to focus on, in what you choose to sacrifice, in what you choose to say no to. Too many people are majoring in minor things. They spend years perfecting distractions instead of mastering their direction. They obsess over being liked instead of building something that matters. They wait for permission instead of acting on their mission. You cannot afford to do that anymore. You cannot afford to waste your fire, your dreams, your years, chasing what doesn't feed your future. Your purpose is not found in noise. It's found in discipline, in focus, in the quiet commitment to something greater than yourself. It's found in those early mornings when no one is watching. It's found in the late nights when you keep going long after motivation fades. Purpose isn't something you find once. It's something you fight for daily. And you fight for it with your time. So guard your time like your life depends on it. Because it does. Eliminate what doesn't grow you. Cancel what doesn't challenge you. Walk away from anything that doesn't align with your values, your peace, your goals. Be unapologetic about your time. Because every second you spend doubting yourself, watching others, overthinking or hesitating, is a second you could have spent building a version of you the world has never seen. Make no mistake, there is greatness in you. But that greatness is not unlocked by chance. It's unlocked by consistent, focused, purposeful use of your time. So choose to use it wisely. Choose to spend it in the direction of your purpose, not the distraction of other people's opinions. You only get one life, one clock, one shot. Don't waste it living a life that isn't yours. Don't waste it building someone else's dream. Don't waste it looking sideways while your own destiny sits untouched, unlived, unloved. Time is not waiting for you. So start now. Start strong. And whatever you do, spend it on your purpose. The need for approval is a quiet prison. It's the invisible chain that keeps you performing instead of living. It's the mask you wear to fit in. The words you silence to keep the peace. The dreams you shrink so others won't feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Most people never tell you. The more you seek approval, the more you lose yourself. Because every time you ask, do they like me? You stop asking, do I like me? And that is where the disconnection begins. When your worth depends on someone else's applause, you become a puppet to their preferences. You walk into rooms trying to guess what version of yourself they want to see. You abandon your truth to wear whatever identity gets accepted. But no matter how well you play the part, it's never enough. Because approval is a moving target. The more you chase it, the more it demands. And eventually you don't even remember who you were before the performance began. That's why the greatest freedom you'll ever experience is the moment you stop asking for permission to be yourself. When you stop begging for likes, for compliments, for validation. When you wake up and decide, I don't need them to believe in me. I believe in me. I don't need them to clap. I'll show up for myself. I don't need their yes to live my truth. That moment is power. That moment is when your confidence becomes unshakable. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't need to prove. It doesn't need to please. Confidence is built in the quiet hours of self-respect. It's built when you make promises to yourself and keep them. It's built when you show up, day after day, even when no one is watching. It's built when you choose your purpose over popularity. It's built when you stand in a crowd and still refuse to shrink. That kind of confidence doesn't come from what others give you. It comes from what you give yourself. You want to feel free. Stop trying to impress people who aren't even paying attention to your soul. Stop dimming your light for rooms that were never meant to hold your fire. Stop waiting for applause that was never yours to begin with. Because when you finally let go of that need, you create space for peace, for power, for authenticity. And in that space, your true self can breathe, can grow, can lead. The strongest people are not the most accepted. They're the most authentic. They know that not everyone will understand them. Not everyone will like them. And they're okay with that. Because they'd rather be disliked for who they are than loved for who they're not. That is the foundation of real confidence. Not perfection, not applause, but truth. Owning who you are, completely and unapologetically. So if you're tired of chasing approval, let this be your turning point. You don't need another person to validate your worth. You are not here to perform. You are here to become. Walk your path, honor your voice, trust your journey, and remind yourself daily, I do not need their permission to live fully. I do not need their applause to rise boldly. I do not need their approval to be enough, because I already am.
We live in a world obsessed with timelines. When to graduate, when to succeed, when to marry, when to retire, as if life was some universal checklist we're all supposed to follow. But the truth is, there is no one-size-fits-all path. Your journey was custom built for you. Your timeline is not broken because it doesn't look like theirs. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on your path, and your path is sacred. The moment you begin to honor your journey, instead of comparing it to someone else's, is the moment you start to walk in freedom. Think about it. No two trees grow the same way, yet every one of them reaches for the sky. Some rise fast, some slow, some bend before they bloom, but all of them are rooted deeply in the ground they were meant to grow from. You must do the same. Your growth is not supposed to look like anyone else's. Your success is not supposed to follow their script. Your purpose is written in a language only your soul understands. Too often we look left and right, measuring our steps against people who were never meant to walk our road. And in doing so, we dishonor our own journey. We rush what needs to unfold slowly. We doubt what was meant to be divine timing. But life is not a race. You don't win by being the fastest. You win by being the truest. You win by walking boldly in the direction of your calling, even if no one understands it, even if you have to walk alone, even if it takes longer than you thought. Your path may be filled with detours. It may look nothing like what you imagine, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. Sometimes the hardest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations. Sometimes delay is not denial, it's development. And sometimes the path you're on is shaping you for something far greater than you even knew to ask for. So walk it, own it, trust it. Don't apologize for where you are. Don't shrink because others got there first. Don't abandon your mission just to fit into someone else's mold. Be proud of how far you've come. Be proud of the pace you've kept. Be proud that you are still here, still trying, still believing. That alone is strength. You are not here to duplicate. You are here to design. And your design may confuse others. It may defy expectations. But that is what makes it beautiful. You were never meant to be a copy. You were always meant to be an original. So walk your path like it was handcrafted for you because it was. Walk it with courage. Walk it with pride. Walk it knowing that even if no one else gets it now, the right people, the ones who are meant to walk with you, will find you on that journey. And if they don't, keep walking anyway. because this is your path, and no one can walk it but you. There will be seasons in your life when everything feels quiet. No applause, no support, no audience, just you, your thoughts, and the silence. And it's in those seasons where you feel the most alone that your real transformation begins. Because growth doesn't happen when you're surrounded by noise. It happens in the silence, in the stillness, in the solitude. It happens when the world turns its back and you finally turn toward yourself. We've been taught to fear isolation, to believe that if we're alone, we're unloved. If we're unseen, we're irrelevant. But silence isn't the absence of value. It's the presence of focus. In silence, distractions fade, pretenses fall away. You're no longer performing, reacting, or people-pleasing. You're simply being. And in that space, your true self starts to rise. Isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the soil where greatness is planted. Think about it. Seeds don't grow in the spotlight. They grow underground, in the dark, out of sight. But that doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means everything is. The root system is forming. The strength is building. The foundation is being laid. And when the time is right, the breakthrough comes. Not because the world noticed, but because you never stopped growing, even when it looked like nothing was happening. So don't fear the lonely seasons. Embrace them. Use them. Dig deep. Heal the parts of you that applause can't reach. Strengthen the parts of you that no one claps for. Use the silence to sharpen your mind, elevate your focus, and realign your direction. Because when you emerge from isolation, when you rise from that place of solitude, your voice will carry more depth, your purpose will have more weight, and your presence will speak louder than any introduction ever could. It's in the quiet seasons that you learn patience. You learn discipline. You learn to keep showing up even when no one's watching. That's when grit is born. That's when resilience is forged. And those qualities don't fade when the crowd comes. They carry you through everything that follows. Because now you know you don't need noise to feel powerful. You don't need a spotlight to feel worthy. You've already found your fire, and you found it in the silence. So if you're walking through a season where it feels like no one sees you, no one hears you, and no one understands you, good. That means you're in the exact place where real growth happens. Trust it. Don't run from it. Stay with it. Because one day soon the world will wonder how you became so strong, so focused, so grounded. And you'll smile. Not because you finally arrived, but because you remember where it all started. In the quiet, in the stillness, in the isolation where you chose not to break, but to build. And now as all the noise fades, and all the points are made, remember this: the most powerful thing you will ever do is focus on yourself. Not because the world doesn't matter, but because you do. You are the seed. You are the foundation. You are the architect of the life you will one day live. While others waste their time, watching, chasing, doubting, comparing, you will be building. You will be healing. You will be rising. Because you chose to stop pouring your energy into everyone else's narrative, and started writing your own. This world doesn't need another copy, another echo, another person living to be liked. It needs you, fully you, grounded, focused, determined. And that doesn't happen when you're watching others. It happens when you finally look within. So choose you, bet on you, believe in you. Focus so deeply on becoming who you're meant to be. That comparison feels like a foreign language. Protect your energy, master your craft, guard your time like your life depends on it, because it does. And when the day comes, when the world sees your results, when they ask how you did it, you'll say, I stopped watching, I started working, I stopped comparing, I started creating, I stopped looking for validation, and I started focusing on myself. The rest took care of itself. Focus on yourself. Not because others don't matter, but because your life is too important to waste living on someone else's timeline. You were not born to compete with everyone. You were born to complete your purpose. You were not designed to be distracted by every passing thought, by every glowing screen, by every highlight reel that tells half a story. You were designed for something more, something deeper, something unshakable. But you'll never find it until you look inward and ask yourself the questions that matter. What do I truly want? What's my purpose? Who am I becoming when no one is watching? The answers won't be found in the eyes of strangers. They'll be found in the quiet places inside your soul. You don't need validation to be valuable. You don't need noise to be heard. You don't need permission to grow. All you need is focus. Clear, raw, ruthless focus on the life you're building, not the lives you're watching. Because while you're watching them, you're delaying you. While you're envying them, you're ignoring you. While you're following their path, you're stepping off your own. And the longer you stay focused on them, the further you drift from your power. So stop. Just stop. Look in the mirror and realize everything you've ever needed was already inside. You don't need a crowd. You need clarity. You don't need attention. You need alignment. You don't need to be seen. You need to see yourself again. Strip away the distractions. Turn down the volume of the world, and turn up the voice in your spirit. That voice, the one you've silenced to please others, that voice holds your truth. That voice holds your calling. That voice holds your freedom, and you've ignored it long enough. So today make a decision. Decide that your time is too precious to waste on meaningless comparison. Decide that your energy is too sacred to invest in people who don't see your worth. Decide that your future is too big to be contained by fear, by doubt, by waiting for approval that may never come. This is not about arrogance. This is about awakening. This is about rising. This is about becoming so focused on your own growth that distractions no longer tempt you, that opinions no longer shake you, that noise no longer defines you. The deeper you focus on yourself, the stronger your roots grow, the clearer your vision becomes, the more undeniable your presence is. You start to realize you don't need to chase anything. You attract everything by simply becoming the truest version of you. And no, it won't always feel good. There will be days of doubt, nights of silence, moments where the world keeps spinning and you feel forgotten. But understand this, silence is not the absence of movement. It's the birthplace of mastery. Growth often happens when no one is clapping. Success is often built when no one is looking. Real evolution requires solitude. It requires isolation. It requires that you block out every voice that isn't building you, and listen to the only one that truly matters, your own. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged. You may even be mocked. But none of that can stop someone who is fully aligned with their mission. You weren't created to blend in. You weren't built to be average. You weren't meant to dim your light to make others feel comfortable. And every time you shrink for them, you abandon you. Every time you delay your goals to wait for someone else's approval, you insult your purpose. That ends now. Your mission is too critical to delay any longer. Your gifts are too rare to remain buried under the weight of doubt. You are here to rise. You are here to build. You are here to shine. Not for attention, but for alignment. Not for applause, but for authenticity. And that only happens when you focus relentlessly on becoming the person you were meant to be. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them misunderstand. Let them scroll. Let them compare. You stay locked in. You stay grounded. You stay grounded. You stay building. Because one day they'll ask how you did it. One day they'll wonder how you came so far. And you'll simply smile and say, I stopped watching and started working. I stopped doubting and started doing. I stopped worrying about others and started focusing on myself. While they were distracted, I was developing. While they were scrolling, I was studying. While they were judging, I was growing. I built in silence. I trained in shadows. I struggled in solitude. And I rose, not because they believed in me, but because I believed in myself when no one else did. This world doesn't reward the distracted. It rewards the focused. It rewards those who do the inner work, the uncomfortable work, the thankless work, the private work. So stop searching for shortcuts. Stop looking for acceptance. Stop apologizing for needing space. You don't owe everyone access. You don't owe everyone answers. You don't owe everyone answers. Sometimes your growth demands that you go silent, go still, and go inward. Sometimes you have to disappear for a season, so you can return unrecognizable. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget you. Let them question you. But never let them outwork you. Never let them outfocus you. Never let them shake what you're building within. Because once you tap into that level of focus, once you become locked in, once you stop explaining and start executing, there's nothing that can stop you. Not the critics, not the comparison, not the timing, not the rejection, not even the fear. You become your own fire. You become your own fuel. And you walk forward, not needing them to light the path, because now you are the light. So keep building, keep believing, keep becoming, and above all else, focus on yourself. Because once you do, the world will have no choice but to focus on you. Thank you.